Hey, what's going on, everyone? I hope you're having a good long weekend. Today I had a little extra time, so I wanted to do another one in my series of making amends. So this is going to be making amends, volume three. We're gonna cover a few things, notwithstanding kind of the status of my collection. I actually have all of my folders out here in front of me, or at least the folders that I consider to be part of my, everyday carry kind of collection. I do have a few one-offs here and there, but before we get started, because there are a few topics I want to go through. The first one being my review of the TRM Atom. So, I signed this to be more of like a Spyderco PM2 killer, and I definitely I do stand by how great this TRM Atom is, especially the fact that it is in micarta. It's super lightweight. I have been carrying it quite a bit. It is very slicey. One of the things in my videos that I said, or one of the things I kind of had a problem with were these O-rings that are on here. So these rubber O-rings, and no sooner had I posted it, Devin pointed out, because he's actually the one that got me this TRM Atom on the drop. These knives do not come with the O-rings, so those are going to be, kind of secondary. You can buy them after the fact, but I just kind of wanted to clarify that this does not come with those O-rings. These thumb studs are actually going to be press fit on here, and I think at this point, I do want to kind of take the O-rings off and see how much I like it without them, because certainly, as soon as I got this out of the box, the first thing I did was kind of, slip these O-rings on there. So I wanted to cover that. That's one of the things that was kind of misleading about my video, but the TRM Atom does not come with those O-rings. All right, the next topic that I wanted to cover was kind of just the state of my everyday carry collection, and I didn't want to take them all out of my gun safe, but I still do have my Lone Wolf collection. So I have two Harsay folders. I have the Lone Wolf Laredo. I have the Talon as well. So have a couple Lone Wolf knives. I'm still always looking at them. If I see them listed on eBay, I'll kind of get a quick bid in there, but I never end up winning any of them because they go pretty high. I also haven't seen many for sale in the secondary, but with that, I kind of wanted to go over the folders that are kind of in my current rotation, and I do still have several that I am trying to move, notwithstanding my Shirogorov Quantum Ursus. Still trying to move that. I'm also still trying to move my Half Face Blades SHPOS Gen 3 folder, which unfortunately for me, I mean, that was a very expensive kind of karambit folder design. They're selling very cheap right now, about half what MSRP is. I just saw one sell for, I think it was $350, which is not a good sign, so I might just be sitting on that for a while. But yeah, I still have that Shirogorov Quantum Ursus. I am kind of trying to trade it for a CRK Zahn. We'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. If not, I'm just going to sit on it. The other update is the Medford M48. So I actually had a trade worked out. Again, we were just kind of awaiting shipping, and I'll post a few pictures here in a minute or two, but I was trading that Medford M48, which was like new in box, and I confirmed with the buyer, who I do trust, who's very active on the Medford site, that the shape that it arrived to me was the shape that it came from the factory, but there was pretty significant overgrind down by the sharpening choil, where they took some of the PVD finish off of the blade, which I don't necessarily like. I love a good stone wash, satin blade. I don't know. I think anytime you put any sort of coating on a blade, and I kind of, it's reminiscent of that, the Spyderco Manix, when reading the pamphlet, it was like, oh, they put this PVD coating on it, so it's for night ops and things like that. I honestly, I could leave it. I'm not interested in it. A lot of times PVD coating, or any coating on a blade, which is something that you will be using, that's going to be the first thing to wear. I would much rather have kind of bare metal with a stonewash finish, something like that. But had a trade lined up for a Hinder Jurassic, which I kind of wanted to check out. It's a little bit smaller version of an XM18. Had everything good to go, and then kind of at the last minute, the guy was like, "Hey, I don't trust that this thing hasn't been sharpened. I'll post right here a picture of the area he was looking at, and And I did. I posted in a few of the Medford groups that I belong to be like, hey, like, was somebody trying to pull the wool over my eyes, like, or is this how it came? I really did think that that's just how it came, and they told me, like, no, that's pretty typical for Medford. So with that, I went through the RMA process with Medford, which it's kind of interesting how you check out at Medford's site. Like, they actually end up making you, it's like you have to add the RMA to your cart. They charge you $20, which that covers sharpening and shipping back to you, but I don't really know what they're gonna say when it gets there, so more to follow. But I did. I put that in the mail 3 days ago, so it should get there pretty quickly. More to follow. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily want to have a knife. Like, if I use a knife and beat it up, then that's on me, kind of thing. But this is one of those knives that I was excited. I thought I would keep it. Got it. It wasn't exactly what I was looking for, so never cut with it, anything like that. Maybe carried very lightly, but nothing on the pocket clip, no snail trails, anything like that. And what kind of prevented me from making a trade was that overgrind. So more to follow with that. I'll definitely I'll keep you all posted. All right. Before I list out all kind of the folders that are in my rotation, I wanted to talk about kind of what I'm after still. So like I said, I really do want to find a drop point Zahn in S45VN. That's definitely that's pretty much the only knife that I would buy right now. I really haven't bought any in a very long time. I'm also looking for a large Sebenza 31, but in Damascus, which that'll kind of round out my CRK collection, I think, and those would be great carry options. Like, you really can't lose with any of the CRKs that I have. Kind of on the way, so as I've mentioned in past videos, I got in on that Winter Blade Factor, so I'm not really sure when it's going to be shipping, probably in the next couple of months. I thought they said around July, but obviously here we are. It hasn't happened yet. The other one that I have coming is a Microtech Anox, which I'm very excited to get. I do have that Microtech SOCOM Bravo. That was also made by Reich Knife, so I'm excited to get that one. I ended up trading my Jaeger M for that one, which I do, and I don't know. I don't think I would like carry it that often. I did like the Jaeger M, but just not enough to keep it. I don't know. I really am like, the theme here is like I'm getting down to knives that mean something to me, and that knife, although it was cool, the action was pretty cool, whatever. I just knew that I wasn't going to carry it, so I passed that one on for the Microtech. And then the last thing that I have coming, which I'm very excited about, is the Ivan B. It's called the Arcona. I'll post a picture right here. The really cool thing about this one is there's only, I think, 200 pieces of it made. So Ivan B design, that's really cool, but it is an inner frame lock, so that'll be really interesting. But I mean, all around looked good. I think it was about $300. They only released a certain number of them, and I'm really excited to get that in my hands. Hey, so I ended up watching the video that I just recorded. It was about 37 minutes long, so I'm just gonna break this thing apart. We'll get to my knife collection here, and then I'll kind of loop together the other parts of my making amends. So if you're confused, it's because I made way too long of a video, but we'll jump right back in. Thanks. All right, the next topic that I wanted to cover, were just kind of like the maintenance and like the tools that I use on a very consistent basis. I think getting back into knives, I always found myself kind of, like rooting through my toolbox in the garage, being like, oh, like, do I have this Torx bit? Do I have this blah, blah, blah? So I broke down. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get tools for my knives. And the first piece that I think, like, if you have more than one knife and you actually care about them and you want to do maintenance, this little Weehaw driver, which you can get on Amazon, the coolest thing about this, so it is magnetic, so it kind of sucks whatever you put into it in there, but all the Torx bits are going to be kept in this cap here, and I think that that's really cool. I ended up, I'll keep these in here, but a lot of some of the knives that I have are going to be running a Torx bit on both sides, so in order to work those, I threw my T8 from my larger toolkit and a driver in here just so that I can get, pressure on the other side should I need to do that. The other thing that I wanted to cover as far as like knife maintenance goes, and certainly, so the oil that I'm using is going to be this 15 weight KPL. Oh, where's the camera? Just available on Amazon. But what I really like about it is it has this, metal straw on it to make it really easy to apply the oil right where you want it. For me, 15 weight is perfect. I'm not bleeding all over the place. It's still, viscous enough to prevent that from happening. And then, just your run-of-the-mill blue Loctite. I'll keep that on hand too. I have dialed in a few of my knives, like certainly the McNees, but I don't know. I don't use Loctite too much just because I kind of want to run them through their paces and actually figure out where I want the action to be before I firm it up with Loctite. And then as far as like companies go, I just kind of wanted to foot stomp this again. Whatever. This is just you. This is just me talking. But I really do like the company Country Com, and I've gotten a lot of things from them in the past, but they have great prices on U.S. made stuff. And one of the things that I got was this little, rubber tray, which has been really good to put parts in and just kind of prevent them from getting lost. I do all my work at like this kitchen table when I'm tinkering around with knives, and it's really nice to have kind of a standalone container to hold all of the parts when I take them apart. That would be huge for bearings too. If you have loose bearings rolling around, that's going to be awesome. The second thing that I bought in, I don't know. Well, yeah, you definitely don't need it. Again, I can't say enough good things about this Weehaw driver, but I was like, you know what? I love titanium, whatever. They had this like contract overrun, so I ended up picking up this titanium driver, which again, similarly to the Weehaw, so the bits are going to be kept in the top of it, and if anyone's interested, like hit me up. I can send you the link for it, but I just thought that this was really cool. It's kind of like billet titanium. There's an O-ring, so CountryCom made this for actually a plane manufacturer that wanted this for their kind of onboard toolkit. But I love this. I love titanium, but it was totally one of those things. You don't need it at all. This Weehaw driver will get you where you need to go. So those are some of the tools and kind of the consumables that I keep on hand for working on knives. Because again, especially if you use your knives, like I'm not even talking like tuning, like oh man, like I want it so the action's so smooth. Just if you use your stuff again to take care of it. These tools have been great, and I highly suggest them. All right, the next topic that I wanted to cover was just kind of a follow-up from my whole USPS stole my knife. Again, USPS did not steal any of my knives. That was literally just what I kept hearing was, oh yeah, they're thieves, they're stealing my stuff, whatever. So again, maybe a little bit clickbaity, but man, like people lost their mind about that video. I had posted in one of the groups I belong to, like, hey, like here's kind of the ins and outs of USPS, and based on my research, this is the way that things are. This is the best way to ship, etc. Man, there's a lot of bumpkins out there that just don't want to hear it for whatever reason. They're just like, I mean, it's like religion trying to like talk them out of the fact that USPS or a postal worker stole their knife. So with that, like, it kind of started a fire, so to speak, and I just got sick of like dealing with those people writ large. But there's definitely a certain type of person that really took issue with my best practices, and they're no friends of mine. I don't know anybody like them, so that was just kind of interesting though. Like I didn't think that it would be a heated, hot button issue, but it certainly turned into one. So yeah, until the next one for sure. All right, the next topic that I wanted to cover was just kind of selling on the secondary market, which will kind of catapult me into my next topic of discussion. So luckily, I was able to move both my Manix 2 XL Spyderco as well as one of my PM2s, and not to say that they were bad, again, like smooth transaction, was able to sell them, but what I'm kind of seeing, like based on trying to sell those knives, and again, if you bought one of those knives, because I know a few of you subscribed to me, you were not the problem, but leading up to that, the people that were contacting me about these like lower end knives, it was exhausting. I mean, I've sold a $1,300 combat front opener, right? And where it was just like, hey, like, is the knife still available? Yeah. All right, can you send me a video? Yeah. Okay, what's your PayPal? All right, cool. I'll get it. You know what I mean? Like, just limiting the talks to like just getting down to business. I, I'm done selling lower end knives. I can't I can't stand it. I also like I ended up selling my Boker Quaken to finally. Like I would have given it to somebody to be honest with you, but you know like leading up to those sales, which again the people that bought it, thank you. Like you guys were straight shooters. We got to the point. We were able to get it to you kind of thing. But leading up to that, just the amount of tire kickers on $75 to $150 knives was it was quite frankly exhausting. Like when you, yeah, like just kind of just back and forth, him and Han, like, oh, I don't know, it's a lot of money, I don't, and it was just like, all right, I don't know, I didn't have time for it. But that being said, Devin and I, we work very closely with things, certainly sending each other knives, things like that. We talk a lot about the knife market. A lot of the conversations I have with him are what kind of lead me to come up, forming my opinions for these Making Amends videos, for sure. One of the things that we talked about, because one of the main groups that we belong to, they've been very stifling recently, I'll say. Like, whereas, like to the tune of, an open group with thousands and thousands of subscribers, where Devin is actually needing now to get permission to post in this group. And then I've been, a few of my posts have been flagged for breaking rules, which have never existed before. I mean, the rules have existed, but, what I did not break any of them by any stretch of the imagination. So Devin and I, like, we're planning on making our own knife group. We have a 90% solution for the name. I'm not going to spoil it now because I don't want anybody stealing it, but very excited for it. And I kind of like wrote down a few of the the things that we're going to try to do with this new group. But wanted to get your all's thoughts if you've made it this far in this video. Again, these Making Amends videos are not for everybody. I don't expect you to watch them, but just to kind of get it out there. We want to make like a buy-sell trade group that's only for knives that are $250 and up. So again, realizing we're kind of canceling out all those lower ends, whatever. We also really don't want to see any of those like homemade customs. All the time we'll see that where it's just like a freaking railroad spike that somebody banged out in their garage and they're like, oh, $100. Like, what do you like? I want to kind of like cut the fat. And the impetus behind that was one of the watch groups I belong to. It'll be a $10,000 and below group. So anything that you're looking at is below a certain price. I kind of took that. I wanted to flip the script a little bit and make it $250 and up, because in my experience, when you reach that $250 threshold for a singular item, that the communications, it's a better experience for a buyer and for a seller. So that's one of the things we're going to be looking at. It's going to be knives only. Certainly we have to like develop the ground rules, which won't be like rocket science. Like I have a few friends in other groups that I think we can use as moderators, admin, etc., to kind of keep people on the straight and narrow. But certainly I won't get into the nitty gritty with it, but I also want to allow price policing in a way, right? So realizing like if somebody posts something that is completely ridiculous, I think people should be able to comment on that, like, hey, like this is still in stock on this website for $100 less. Like, I value that as a potential buyer, but also to kind of like not put people in their place, but just kind of like reality check, man. Like that's not the going rate. And I do belong to a Sangen Instruments. I'm a huge Sangen Instruments watch fan, and I belong to the buy sell trade group for that. And there are group experts that can kind of like nudge people in the right direction. And certainly like if people want to ask a certain price for something, far be it me to stop them. But I just didn't like it when like comments are getting deleted because you're like, hey, like that's way overpriced for what it is, kind of thing. I kind of want to get away from that notion. So more to follow with that. We're actually hopefully this week going to be talking about the details of it, but I'm really excited to check it out. We're certainly going to be mainly focused on like US knives, which again at that price point I think it's pretty safe to say that's what most of them will be, but we'll also look at some of the higher end, like Chinese and Taiwanese manufacturers as well. We're not going to like exclude a knife based on its country of origin, but we don't want to have any junk in there. And I think it'll be a really kind of a breath of fresh air to a lot of people that buy, sell, and trade knives on the secondary. All right, and if you made it this far, I appreciate you tuning in. Again, just want to kind of do a state of the union, so to speak, on where I'm at with knives, etc. I just kind of want to foot stomp. I know, like, I don't know. Like, I never thought that I would be making videos, reviews, overviews of knives or anything like that. So I'm definitely still getting used to the vernacular, the parts of the knife, the whatever. A lot of times I can really only clearly explain how I feel about something, but I am working on kind of the tech specs and the, you know, all the terminology that goes along with knives. But I really appreciate you all, you know, tuning in. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel. Yeah, just trying to build it up, and I'm definitely never ever gonna be one of those people that's like, oh, like Patreon, all this stuff. Like, I have no interest in doing that at all. I really do just like knives, and I like describing them, how I feel about them, and then hopefully, you know, passing on information or my observations to people that are in the market for a knife. So yeah, appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll see you next time. I don't know. I don't really have too many other knives that I'm gonna review or in the hopper. There's certainly ones that I could do, but I'm gonna wait for a few of my new ones to come in. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.